Hi students, good morning to everyone. Again, I am Professor Tirumurthy, PPG College of Pharmacy, Coimbatore. We'll discuss today about in vitro in vivo correlations. First, we'll know what is in vitro, what is in vivo. So generally, after administration of drug to the body, the plasma level concentration, Cmax, Tmax, AUC, like many pharmacokinetic parameters are determined by in vivo studies. So now what is in vivo study? In vivo study is nothing but the study carried out or the research or the experiment carried out inside the body of animal or mainly human to predict pharmacokinetic parameters or any other related parameters are called as in vivo studies. So in simple we can say the study carried out inside the body is known as in vivo studies. So then what is in vitro studies? So the study carried out outside the body is called as in vitro. Exactly no, because there are many studies are conducted outside the body. So you're preparing tablet, emulsion, you're doing assay. So all these things are done outside the body. So this is not considered as in vitro. The main term you should use is in vitro is the study or experiment or research carried out outside the body by mimic the setup same like in vivo is known as in vitro studies. So in vitro studies are in simple, it is a study carried out outside the body by making all the arrangements and setup same like in vivo. So the example of in vitro study is performing dissolution study. So what is the special in dissolution study? How it called as in vitro means, so we are maintaining the dissolution medium same like our body GIT fluid, either acidic or basic pH. So we maintain shrink condition, we maintain body temperature. So all the setups are mimic the in vivo, so it called as in vitro studies. So now what is in vivo in vitro correlation? Why we wanted to correlate both in vivo and in vitro? So as we all know that doing in vivo study is a complicated procedure. It need human volunteers. We should make the healthy human volunteers to administer the drug, so the drug may produce pharmacological action, pharmacodynamic action is produced, side effects may be produced. Apart from that, the human healthy volunteer will administer the drug unnecessarily, even though he is not suffering any diseases. Then after administering, the blood is periodically, as per our sampling time, it is withdrawn from the human being by making small puncture in the skin or by inserting the butterfly cannula. So all this procedure is complicated, it is tedious. So doing in vivo is complicated procedure and many human volunteers are involved. So maximum wherever is possible we will curtail using human volunteers or in vivo studies. So if you curtail or you are not using in vivo studies, then what is the alternate? So the exact alternate of in vivo study is done with the in vivo in vitro correlation. So it's nothing but instead of doing in vivo, we are managing with the in vitro dissolution study to correlate the in vivo. We are matching with in vitro result to the in vivo result. So if the matching or if the correlation are getting proper result, we can avoid or eliminate in vivo studies. So we can do the experiment with the in vitro itself without going for the in vivo human volunteer studies. So now this in vivo in vitro correlation is simply called as IVIVC. So this is defined by two organizations. One is FDA, Food and Drug Organization, and another one is USA. Okay, USA, USP, that means United States Pharmacopoeia. So what this explains, this FDA explain this in vivo in vitro correlation is establishment of this in vivo in vitro correlation is establishment of predictive mathematical model that describe the relationship between in vitro property with relative response of in vivo. That means predictive mathematical model which relate the relationship between in vitro property with in vivo related response. So this is called as IVIVC as per FDA, Food and Drug Administration. Then as per USP, it is defined as it is a establishment of rational relationship between physiochemical property of the drug or of the dosage form versus biological response of the dosage form or formulation. So what is physiochemical property? It is nothing but solubility. Based on solubility, the study done is dissolution. Again, it is the same. Dissolution is an in vitro study. What is biological response? In the systemic circulation, what action, what happened is studied. Maybe AUC, Cmax, Tmax. That is nothing but in vivo. So these are the two definitions are given. Or in another time we can say checking the quantity of drug in a dissolution medium and comparing these values or result with the bloodstream, amount of drug present in the bloodstream is compared. So we will come to know the relation between these two things are known as or defined as in vivo in vitro correlations. Comparing in vitro property with in vivo response, and another term physiochemical property with biological response or drug present in the bloodstream versus drug present in the dissolution medium. Okay, so this is the definition. So now why we need, what is the use or what are all the advantages of this in vivo in vitro correlation? See, when we are doing the correlation between these two, it will help to substitute in vivo bioavailability or bioequivalency studies. It is a very good alternate or substitute for in vivo studies of bioavailability and bioequivalency. And second, it support the term called as biowaiver. It means it is a waiver of the in vivo studies. It is called as biowaiver. Biowaiver means waiving of in vivo studies. Instead of in vivo, we can correlate or manage with the in vitro result. So which are all the conditions this IVIVC is recommended? The one is when the changes in the manufacturing process, the formulation is prepared or slightly any changes are made in the process of manufacturing, we can go for IVIVC. That will help directly by doing in vitro study instead of in vivo, we can correlate. Second, changes in the site of manufacturing or changes in the formulation formula or procedure during initial stage development. So the formulation is just started. So initially we wanted to know the basic idea whether this can proceed further. So in the basic or early stages, by just doing in vitro study, dissolution study, we can come to know this will work out. So we will proceed further. So in the initial development of formulation, this IVIVC is recommended. Mainly modified or extended release dosage form, the IVIVC is recommended. Then in case any batch to batch variation found in the formulation, there we will go for the correlation of in vivo in vitro. So most of the cases in many of the drugs, the in vivo in vitro correlations are performed and the results are reported. So in such case we can directly refer those results, whether particular drug, particular dosage form, that correlation will help. Then we can directly proceed to do the in vivo in vitro correlations, or else we can freshly prepare one set of in vitro study and freshly do in vivo study, and by comparing both in vivo and in vitro, we can come to a conclusion which will give what. See, for example, if you find 10% difference in the dissolution pattern of each formulation or each different area, so they same 10% are the corresponding percentage of difference in the in vivo study, in the blood sampling concentration also found means, so these are linear. That means here also in vitro dissolution pattern is also changing by 10%. So the in vivo blood concentration is also changing by corresponding to 10%. So this is linear. So in such cases, we can go ahead by doing the experiment only with the in vitro instead of doing in vivo if it is correlated properly. So what are the methods are available, in what are the level, and based on what the in vivo in vitro correlation is done, we will see in the next slide. So now this in vitro in vivo correlations are determined by 5 methods, those called as level A correlation, level B correlation, level C correlation, multiple level C correlation, and level D correlations. There are 5 correlations. So whatever different methods are given, it is nothing but comparing or correlating the in vivo and in vitro. So the parameters what we have taken only differs based on the levels. See, among all these 5 correlations, this level A correlation and multiple level C correlations are widely used methods, and this gives useful correlation among all those things. Then the correlation level B, level C and level D are very rarely used. This is not direct interpretations are given. So let us see what is level A correlation. So the level A correlation is nothing but comparing or correlating in vitro dissolution parameter. That means percentage of drug released in dissolution medium versus in vitro plasma level concentration of the drug is compared. So these data of the same formulation and the plasma concentration of the same formulation data are being collected. For example, hydroxychloroquine we have to correlate in vitro in vivo means. So the hydroxychloroquine formulation of same dosage form is taken in the dissolution apparatus. The dissolution parameters are collected. That means percentage of drug release or percentage cumulative drug release is measured. The same formulation is administered to the human volunteers, and the plasma concentrations of the hydroxychloroquine in same interval which is performed in vitro, corresponding the same time period the blood is collected, plasma level concentration of the drug is collected. So these two data are compared or correlated. I'll tell you what type of correlation is nothing but how you plotted calibration curve with known concentration versus observable. So same like of correlation system generally. The second level correlation is level B correlation. It is nothing but MDT versus MAT. That is mean dissolution time versus mean absorption time. The mean absorption and dissolution time approximately the N minimum 5 studies are performed, or 5 volunteers are checked, or 5 data are collected. The 5 data's mean values collected for mean dissolution time of those 5 or mean absorption time of those 5. Only the mean dissolution time and absorption time is calculated, and that is correlated in level B correlation. And level C correlation is nothing but it is conducted in a single point. The one value of dissolution is taken, the one pharmacokinetic, any one of the pharmacokinetic, but one value of pharmacokinetic parameter is checked. So this is level C, that is single point. One dissolution, one plasma concentration. One means one volunteer's full set, and one pattern of dissolution full timing from 1 to 10 hour or whatever timing is taken. So those are collected and compared. Some cases the T50 or T90 of dissolution is compared with any one of the pharmacokinetic parameter. So generally here what are all the pharmacokinetic parameters are checked means same like either Cmax can be compared with dissolution parameter, or Tmax can be compared, AUC 0 to T is compared, or AUC T to infinity time is compared, or MRT is compared, or T off is compared, or this MAT or MDT or MAT. These are all general pharmacokinetic parameters used in this correlation. So this is single point. So the same parameter or the same method is followed in multiple level C correlation. So the multiple level C correlation is same. The dissolution profile is taken. So this dissolution profile is compared with any one of the pharmacokinetic parameter. Either maybe Cmax, Tmax or AUC, whatever it is. So these two are correlated or compared. So now we'll see what are all the advantages among other methods. I said level A and multiple level C are widely used, and these two methods are generally used for the purpose of BioWaver. So this will give a direct relation, direct idea to wave of the in vivo studies, level A and level B. So here both the cases, the plasma drug concentration of pharmacokinetic parameter is checked by two methods. One is Wagner-Nielsen method, or Lee-Riegel parameter is checked by two methods. One is Wagner-Nielsen method or Lee-Riegelmann method. So these two Wagner-Nielsen and Lee-Riegelmann methods are in common, not only for this correlation, it is a common method to determine the plasma level concentration in the blood. So this, why it is called as multi-level C correlation means, this multi-level correlation is done with minimum of 6 to 36 volunteers. These studies carried out only in the human volunteers. So this study of pharmacokinetic parameters are checked by crossover method. Very widely crossover method is used, and rare cases the parallel method is used. So here to check, to reference or to compare the bio availability, the IV solution or oral liquid solutions are taken as a reference to study this. So this level C correlation is only single point it is conducted. This will give only the partial correlation. It will not give a complete data. However, this level C is useful for pilot plant formulation, or this is used to start up the work in the early stage formulation study. This level C correlations are used. So the next correlation is level D correlation. See, whatever all this level A, B, C, multiple level C and D correlations are framed based on two parameters. So that is known as solubility and permeability. So in general, this solubility and permeability is the wide range of classification which will help for this IV-IVC. So what is this classification? This is called as biopharmaceutics classification system. Biopharmaceutics classification system, in short called as BCS. So this is nothing but based on the solubility and permeability. So why these two things are compared? The in vitro is based on the solubility and in vivo is based on the permeability. So if we compare the solubility nature and permeability nature, so that will give a direct correlation between in vivo and in vitro. So based on that, see, if the product is high soluble and high permeable, this is called as class 1 classification. If it is high permeable and low soluble, this is called as class 2 type of drugs. If it is low permeable and high soluble, those are called as class 3 type of drugs. If it is low soluble and low permeable, this is known as class 4 type of drugs. So why we wanted to study? Because if the solubility is more, the dissolution is more. So if solubility is less, the dissolution rate will be controlled. So based on this thing, the rate of release or rate of soluble or rate of dissolution or rate of absorption is determined. See, if the drug is class 1 type, that means high soluble, high permeable, means the absorption rate is based on gastric emptying. So So gastric motility will control or determine the speed of absorption. So if it is class 2 type, those are low soluble. So the rate of absorption is based on dissolution. So here dissolution become rate controlling factor. And the class 3, the permeability will act as rate controlling step for absorption. And class 4 will depends on case to case based on the drug and pH, pKa, permeability nature and etc. So based on these 4 classification only, the level A, B, C, multiple level C and D are correlated. So now we'll see what is D level correlation and how the data are compared. So the next is level D correlation. This correlation is performed between the intensity factor time for 50% of dissolution versus 50% of absorption. So the intensity factor is checked. So there is a different type of parameter. So to check the intensity factor for 50% and it is compared. So all over all these 5 studies, A and multi-level C are advantages widely used, and the rest 3, B, C and D are rarely used since each and everything have some small disadvantages. So here the level D is not useful for regulatory affairs, but it is useful to develop the formulation process. So level D is not useful for regulatory affairs. This is useful for development of formulation process. In level C, what are all the disadvantages means? The level C will give only the partial details, but that is useful for pilot plant formulation purpose or for early stage formulation. Level C is used, and level B is not widely used because it is MAT and MDT is compared. So this will not justify the quality standard of the formulation. So this is the advantages and disadvantages of these 5 correlations. So generally, for example, one IV-IVC correlations are reported. I have taken, this is theophylline extended release microspheres. So here the data of AUC and the percentage drug release is correlated by the graphical method. So this showed a linear graph pattern. So this, I already said, is nothing but a calibration curve. So we have a percentage dissolution release corresponding to the AUC. So here, by using this graph, when we perform the percentage release, we can check the corresponding AUC level. So by that, we can correlate any newer formulations. For example, now we are only performing, so this is already reported, these values are available. So this is recorded. So now some new formulation is coming. We are going to check the in vivo parameters. So but we are not doing the in vivo parameters, we are doing only in vitro parameters. In vitro dissolution only we are doing, because to avoid the human volunteers and to go for complicated procedure. So now that new formulation, only the in vitro parameters are checked. So now we have the percentage drug release by in vitro. So those percentage drug release is correlated in the graph, available standard graph like this. So the corresponding in vitro release is checked here. I mean the corresponding area under curve to the percentage drug release what we obtained is taken from this graph. So with the percentage release data, we are taking AUC corresponding to that applied in the graph. So these are the 5 general methods of in vitro, in vivo correlations as per FDA to substitute in vivo studies with in vitro, and it will be useful for bioweather. So that's all about IV-IVC. Thank you very much today.